That's not Santa.
I know.
That's not Santa.
It's not Santa. It's a decoy.
Can you say it?
Smells like beef and cheese.
Mark.
Sorry. You have to see Elf to know what we're talking about. Everyone's like, what?
It's an Elf thing. Home and watch Elf. All right, well, we are just about done to the end of our show for this evening, I believe. Oh, we have, I think we have...
We'll end with that.
Oh, we're going to end with that. Okay, so Joyce is coming up with a story. There she is. All right, Joyce and a story.
One of the favorite parts of Christmas is when Mom would sit down and all the kids would gather around and she would read a story. And Mom read so many stories that I couldn't pick. So I picked one of mine that I read to my kids. It was 2 o'clock and time for the third watch on the night herd. These 2 facts gradually impressed themselves on the consciousness of John Talbot Waring as he was thumped into wakefulness by the Mexican house wrangler. He sat up and sleepily groped for his boots, unrolled his slicker, which had served as his pillow, enveloped himself in its clammy folds and went out into the drizzling dark. There he saddled and mounted his horse and then headed for the cattle. For the 100th time within a week, Waring condemned himself for relinquishing the comforts of civilization for this hard life and riding these rough and dangerous slopes of Colorado. He recalled his arrival at the range 6 months before. He was a tenderfoot, and many tribulations he had endured to make his transformation into a full-fledged cowpuncher. But all the weary months had been wasted. He had failed in his object. He could not forget. It seemed to him that instead of growing more endurable with time, the stings of his heart, the soreness of his heart, and the sting of regret increased with each passing day. He wondered if she felt the separation, if she cared. He remembered the sweet days of their time together, and as he looked into the blackness of the night, he saw her as she appeared on that wonderful day when they were married. Their wedding trip was a dream, and their first few days together were wonderful, but then the shadow came over their home. He asked himself bitterly, why hadn't he been more patient with her? She was just a child, it seemed, and sometimes their quarrels were horrible. Should he go back and admit that he had been wrong? Never. The memory of that last day was too clear in his mind. The words she had spoken in the heat of her anger had burned themselves into his soul and could not be forgotten. He wondered now that he had been so calm, and he recalled every word that he had said. Your words convince me that we cannot live together any longer. I will neither forgive nor forget them. I am going away. You may sue for divorce if you like, but I am leaving. And that was all. Without a word, he had left her standing white and motionless to come out here to the wildest spot he could find in the vain effort to forget. And then his thoughts strayed to that strange postal card that he had received the previous day. Who could have sent it, and what did it mean? It was an ordinary postal card. Its peculiarity consisted in the fact that instead of words, there was music written on it. 4 measures in the key of G. He had hummed those notes over and over and thought they sounded strangely familiar, but he could not place the fragment or even who had written it, and its meaning, what could it be? Who could have sent it? He had many friends who were musicians. Anyone could have adopted this method of communication, but he hummed it as he went round and round the cattle. Finally, he abandoned the riddle of the postal card and began to sing to pass the time, his rich baritone ringing out above the sleeping herd. Light slowly appeared above the peaks, and one by one the cattle stirred, rose, and commenced to graze. And Waring still sang, carelessly passing from snatches of opera to lines of sacred harmony, when suddenly, in the midst of the passage from one of the great works of a master composer, he stopped. He was singing the words on the card. And it came to him like a flash. He tore his coat open, drew the postal card from his inner pocket. Sure enough, he reached for a pencil and wrote the words under the lines of music, added the signature, and gazed long and earnestly. Then, with a wild shout, he wheeled and rode furiously to camp. Pulling up with a jerk that almost lifted the Iron John Bronco from the ground, he hurled himself from the saddle and reached the box in 2 bounds. "Boss, I must be in Denver tonight. I want your best horse, quick." The boss stared at him in amazement. "Man, that's 120 miles. You're crazy." "No. It's only 60 miles to Empire, and I can get the train there. It leaves at 1 o'clock. If you'll lend me Star," I know he's your